Yes. That's all right. No problem. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotara Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 5, Meeting of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, texts 9 and 10. 9 does not have purport, it's on the board. Gopyascha karnya mudita Yashodaya sutodbhavam Atmanam bhushayam chakrur Vastrakalpapanjanadivihi. Gopyascha karnya mudita Yashodaya sutodbhavam Atmanam bhushayam chakrur Vastrakalpanjanadivihi. Gopyascha karnya mudita Yashodaya sutodbhavam Atmanam bhushayam chakrur Vastrakalpanjanadivihi. Gopyascha karnya mudita Yashodaya sutodbhavam Atmanam bhushayam chakrur Vastrakalpanjanadivihi. Gopyaha, the feminine community, the wives of the cowherd men. Cha also. Akarnya, after hearing. Muditaha, became very glad. Yashodayaha, of Mother Yashoda. Suta Udbhavam, the birth of a male child. Atmanam, personally. Bhushayam chakruhu, dressed very nicely to attend the festival. Vastra akalpa anjana adivihi, with proper dress, ornaments, black ointment, and so on. Translation and next verse in translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The gopi wives of the cowherd men were very pleased to hear that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a son, and they began to decorate themselves very nicely with proper dresses, ornaments, black ointment for the eyes, and so on. Text 10. The Sanskrit is important, but Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutaya Balibhi Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithushronyas Chalat Kuchaha. Their lotus-like faces, extraordinarily beautiful, being decorated with saffron and newly grown kunkuma, the wives of the cowherd men hurried to the house of Mother Yashoda with presentations in their hands. Because of natural beauty, the wives had full hips and full breasts, which moved as they hurried along. Purport. The cowherd men and women in the villages lived a very natural life, and the women developed a natural feminine beauty with full hips and breasts. Because women in modern civilization do not live naturally, their hips and breasts do not develop this natural fullness. Because of artificial living, women have lost their natural beauty, although they claim to be independent and advanced in material civilization. This description of the village women gives a clear example of the contrast between natural life and the artificial life of a condemned society, such as that of the Western countries, where topless, bottomless beauty may be easily purchased in clubs and shops for public advertisements. The word Balibhi indicates that the women were carrying gold coins, jeweled necklaces, nice cloths, newly grown grass, sandalwood pulp, flower garlands, and similar offerings on plates made of gold. Such offerings are called Bali. The words Tvaritam Jagmuhu indicate how happy the village women were to understand that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a wonderful child known as Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. These two verses indicate to us, this is my inspiration, the way we prepare for Janmashtami. So it's coming in a few weeks, Krishna's appearance day. So we are, as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, meant to take inspiration from the cowherd women of Vrindavan. And their execution of devotional service is the highest standard that we aspire to emulate and follow. We cannot imitate, but we emulate, we follow, we take inspiration from, and we conduct our devotional service, or we are to conduct our devotional service in that spirit if we can. And so that spirit is right here. The Krishna has appeared. He has not performed any pastime yet, but they are very, very eager to be with him. And in their eagerness to be with him, they're very eager to be very presentable to Krishna. They did not run out with what we call, what's that called? Oh man. Hair, when you come out of bed and the hair is all over, what's called, what hair is that called? Bedhead, thank you. They did not show up to Krishna with a bedhead. Hair all over, smelling because they didn't brush their teeth or didn't even take a bath. Just showed up. Hi Krishna, I'm very happy to be here, man. No, I mean, it shows how eager they are to see. So this is the conflict in one sense, if you want to appreciate it. They are so drawn to be with Krishna immediately. Yet they are taking the time to decorate themselves. So in our process of bhakti, the anticipation of being with Krishna is considered higher than actually being with Krishna. Although they want to be with Krishna, the anticipation of it is a greater ecstasy. And that anticipation inspires them to please Krishna in different ways. So this is how they have done it. Says Gopyaha Akarnya. Gopyaha cha Akarnya. Cha means also. So the men also heard and the women also heard that, oh, in the house of Nanda and Yashoda, a boy has been born or has appeared. So when the women heard it, describing it by the women particularly, Akarnya, Karna means ear, and Akarnya means when the news went into their ears, Mudita, they became very gladdened. I mean, it's the best news they could hear. And the news is Yashodayaha Suta Udbhavam. That the Udbhava actually means to rise. A sun has risen in her home. You know, children don't rise in the home, but the idea is Udbhava means the appearance of. So a boy has appeared in the house of Yashoda. So Atmanam means personally, Bhushayam Chakruhu. Prabhupada says, dressed very nicely to attend the festival. Bhushayam Chakruhu. They actually engaged in the activity of decorating themselves. Bhushana means ornament. So it's a Baladeva Vidya Bhushana. One of our Acharya's name is Baladev Vidya Bhushana. The ornament for this person is their knowledge. Baladev Vidya Abhushana. So he says, Bhushayam Chakru. And how did they decorate themselves? Vastra. Vastra means dress. So nice saris or gopi dresses, whatever they wore. Akalpa. Akalpa means all the ornaments that go with the dress. Right? Dress and proper jewelry. Only then the dress is accented. If you don't put on jewelry, the neck looks pale, the arms look pale. So they're generally decorated with ornaments, earrings, necklaces, rings, bracelets, armlets, waist bands, nose ring, anklets, toe rings, the whole thing. And Anjana, Prabhupada says black ointment. We say mascara or whatever it's called, eyeliner. I think that's the best word, eyeliner. Black eyeliner, adibi, and so on. So they took the time to do their makeup, if you will. And the verse continues. Nava kunkuma kinjalka. So kinjalka and nava kunkuma, saffron and kunkuma flowers. These are reddish in color. And saffron dyes your cloth and skin yellowish. So now our Prabhus here have sandalwood paste on their forehead after we offer to Prabhupada. And if you notice, those spots are yellowish in color, or orangish yellowish in color, because sandalwood is mixed with camphor and saffron in the morning, and ground very nicely. So it gives a very beautiful color. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form is described, it says, oh, this tall form with arms that were all the way down to his knees, golden in color, decorated with flower garlands, and body fully salved with sandalwood paste. So it's nice, orangish color like that. And Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha. Mukha Pankaja, lotus-like faces were decorated. And in their hands, it says Balibhi. Bali in most cases means sacrifice. Is something that's why even in the pastime of Lord Vamandev, Bali is the one who gives away in sacrifice to Vishnu everything that he has acquired. In India, they do sacrifice of animals to Durga Devi. And it's called Bali. They bring a goat or a buffalo and they sacrifice the animal. Of course, it has become completely degenerated. The quantity in which they slaughter those animals is unbelievable. Or in the Islamic religion, for Eid, they have the I guess what is that called, the custom of slaughtering a goat for whoever, and then they eat the goat. So this is all called Bali. Bali means items of sacrifice. Here in the list in the purport, Prabhupada gives what those items of sacrifice are. He says women were carrying gold coins, jeweled necklaces, nice cloth, newly grown grass, sandalwood pulp, flower garlands, and similar offerings on plates made of gold. So a person offers a sacrifice something that is valuable to them. If it is of not value to them, then that's not considered sacrifice. It's considered you're getting rid of something. Generally, when we give gifts, it is said a gift is considered a gift when you give something that's of value to you to someone else. Otherwise, you're just getting rid of something. You look around and say, oh, I don't need that thing, you can take it. But if it is of value to you, that, hey, this is something that has helped me and I'm happily, lovingly giving to you, that's a gift. I'm saying because yesterday we received a very nice gift yesterday. It was done spontaneously. That was very sweet. So like that, here, the cowherds people, for them, their things of value is grass, because without that they can't feed the cows, so it's very valuable. And then newly grown grass, or fresh grass, grains, flowers, fruits and vegetables, and gold, because Vaishyas deal with money and grains, right? According to Bhagavad Gita, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. Krishi means farming or agriculture. So all products of agriculture, grain, flowers, fruits and vegetables. Goraksha, cow protection. So you have to protect the cow, you have to feed the cow. If you don't feed the cow, there's no protection. So fresh grown grass. And Vanijam. Vanijam means, quite literally it means trade. So, and you trade with money, gold. I sell you something, you give me gold coins. So next time if I sell you something, please give me in gold. Okay? I won't take paper or cotton no more. So Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, sandalwood pulp, etc. So they brought these offerings for the Janmashtami festival. So because our festival is coming up, the idea is that one should offer bali, whatever is dear to you, you offer to Krishna. And for most people, money is dear, and so we ask for money. We ask for donations for the festival, or donating one's effort and time and energy in serving Krishna. Now this offering must be done with a particular intention, a spirit of enthusiasm, not, man, I have to give a donation again, or it's not like that. Or I have to, oh, Janmashtami is coming, I have to fast now, I have to do this service, do that service. Instead of that, it's done with a spirit of enthusiasm. And that spirit of enthusiasm is described in the last two lines of this 10th verse. Tvaritam jagmohu. Tvaritam means very, very quickly, eagerly. And jagmohu means to move, or they went very quickly. So in our mind, when someone is walking quickly, okay, we may have a certain picture of what walking quickly might mean. So to remove that doubt, oh, they were walking quickly means they were walking a little faster than usual. Shukadev Goswami says how fast they were walking, that their walking was almost as if they were sprinting. And how do you know? He says, Prithushroonya chalat kuchaha. They had heavy hips. Generally, someone who has heavy hips can't run fast. So he says, Prithushroonya chalat kuchaha. Their breasts were moving. I mean, they were walking, real eager to get there to see Krishna. That's the enthusiasm and eagerness, that they were so keen and eager to see Krishna that they were literally running. That's their enthusiasm. Otherwise, you might wonder, in this Bhagavatam, why Shukadev Goswami has to talk about someone's hips and breasts? It's like, what is this? Or what is the point in all of this? And especially Shukadev Goswami, who has nothing to do with all this. But it's in poetry, or if you read any work of something that's written or spoken, the more you describe something, you help the audience get a visual picture. That's the art of writing, correct? If he's just said, oh, they went very quickly to Nanda Maharaja's house, it's not as descriptive and elucidating as they were such that, their hips and breasts were moving. But they're fast, they were running. They were so eager to see Krishna. It's the beauty of description. So Prabhupada writes, Tvaritam, the words Tvaritam Jagmuhu indicate how happy the village women were to understand that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a wonderful child known as Krishna. Now the naming ceremony hadn't happened yet, right? Garga Muni hasn't named the children yet. Am I right? So far. Has that happened yet? Not yet. So the names haven't been given yet. The children are just boys, 2 boys. But in their hearts, they're attracted to Krishna. They know. So this whole purport of this spontaneous attraction of the cowherds women towards Krishna is highlighted by Prabhupada giving us a principle. Here's the principle. This description of the village women gives a clear example of the contrast between natural life and the artificial life of a condemned society. So the second point then is the difference between natural life and artificial life. So these two words, natural and artificial, are antonyms. Generally, when we think of natural life and artificial life, we think of living on a farm or living in the forest versus living in a city as the first picture of natural versus artificial life. And that's true, no doubt. Cities are considered artificial because they are distant from nature. Everything is processed and created versus that has appeared naturally. Or when we say natural food versus artificial food, food that has appeared from nature versus that has had a lot of intervention in between before it gets to someone's table. And so nowadays the new tagline even for meat producers is from farm to table, to indicate that there hasn't been much intervention. Yeah, right, you kill the whole animal, but that's a different issue. But from farm to table. Day before yesterday, we had to purchase a new refrigerator because our refrigerator has not been working for months together, and they tried to repair it in many ways and it didn't work. So finally they said, well, we'll replace it for you. So we went to Home Depot and we picked our refrigerator that we wanted. So this guy who was processing the order, he opened a brochure and showed me the picture of how the refrigerator will look when it is fully stacked. And I chuckled and I said to him, from top drawer where the freezer is down to the bottom and on the door, everything that I see is processed food. Only in the bottom two drawers, in a small space, there's some vegetable and fruit. I said, this fridge you're telling me will pack a lot of artificial food. He started laughing, said, yeah, that's right, everything is processed in this picture, bottles of juice, something else, processed cheese, processed this, processed that, this canned, that, this thing, that, only a little fruit and vegetable in the bottom. I said, we don't eat like this. Our fridge will not look like this, it's very different. He sort of chuckled, he said, yeah, that's true. So there's natural and there's artificial. And in part of it is, it's very difficult to get what we say natural food. So now anything that is natural and organic is far more expensive than that which is tinkered with, because that's a huge marketing claim now. It's natural. So that's what we think of natural and artificial. Artificial means there's a lot of human intervention, there's processing, etc., which is true. But let's take a far bigger picture, more strategic picture of things. Natural means that which has connection with the soul and Krishna. And artificial means all of the processes that don't necessarily touch the soul per se. So karma, jnana, they're all artificial. Because karma kanda primarily satisfies the body. People undergo a lot of austerity and tapasya to fulfill in the process of karma kanda needs of the body. A good house, a good job, a good partner, a good car. That's why when people buy a car, they come to a temple and say, can you perform car puja? Can you worship my car so it's safe? This is the silliest thing one can do. What's the meaning of worshipping a car? Of course, there are places in the Vedic system where they say Vahana Puja, it's there, but what's the point? So many times when they bring the car to the Hare Krishna temple, especially when they ask me, do you perform car puja? We said, no, we perform puja only to Krishna. Puja is meant for Krishna and Krishna's devotees. If you want, we can give you Mahaprasad that you can keep in your car to sanctify your car. But we don't worship your car. But the idea is, if my car is protected, then my investment in it is protected. So these are all on the external physical realm. That's karma kanda. Jnana kanda, or that section of the Vedas that deals with knowledge per se, is for the satisfaction of the mind and intelligence, mostly the intelligence primarily, because it gives you all the nuances of philosophy, it gives you all the ways in which you can look at the world and analyze the world, etc. But it satisfies the intelligence or intellect to a certain degree. So it's also considered artificial per se, because at the end, in the end game, we're neither our intelligence nor are we our bodies. So something that is natural and doesn't have to be taught, or we say it's an inside-out process, is the process of bhakti. Therefore, you find that in small children, their attraction to Krishna's kirtan or Krishna is a lot stronger than a fully grown jnanis. Of course, there is innocence in a child, and you say they are not intelligent. That is true. But it shows a natural attraction. That when you grow up and you allow your rational faculties to start working, then it puts a lot of questions along the way. I have a relative who used to visit us very often many years ago. And they would bring their little daughter. She was about 2 years old. We knew her from the time she was born, but when she would come to the temple, she was about 2 years old. And the Sunday feast kirtan, she would be here. And as we were all singing and dancing, no one had to prompt to her. She would dance in the kirtan. And she was so attracted to the Hare Krishna mantra kirtan. Now she is in college. Somewhere deep down, that attraction for Hare Krishna is still there, although the home practices are totally opposite of anything Hare Krishna. Not bad, just very pious family, very nice family. Just not, attraction to Krishna per se, but attraction to something divine type. But even today, when that young woman hears Hare Krishna, her ears perk up. Oh, because there's a connection there. But in the time that she's become a young adult, because of the rational faculty that has strengthened, there are many questions and doubts. I'm not saying it's unhealthy. Rationally understanding Krishna consciousness is good. I'm not. All I'm saying is, when the intellect starts to function, it starts putting a bunch of doubts that otherwise naturally the attraction was there for Krishna. So these cowherd women will say, we're not educated. We don't know all these intricate philosophy and all the ways of looking at things. We don't know. We're just naturally attracted to Krishna. And that is their greatness. So we aspire that intellect, the intellect that we have, or the intelligence that we have, should actually help us awaken that natural attraction rather than put hurdles or dampers along the way. That is our aspiration. And therefore, scriptural study helps orient the intelligence in such a way that it allows bhakti to flow. Therefore, Kunti Devi says, Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit. He says, my dear Krishna, Madhupati, may my mind flow without any hindrance towards you immediately. The hindrances are doubts, or sense of rationality that brings all these little hurdles, if you will. And so if you notice, from here on, from Krishna's appearance onwards, rationality has to take a back seat. How is it possible that Krishna was born, first of all? So that's a whole rational challenge. Then all the shackles just fell off, everyone fell asleep, the doors just opened, and Vasudev crossed the Yamuna, Yamuna gave way, he went and placed the child there, he came back, all the shackles came back again, doors were locked, voila. Okay? So that's already a full rational circus for us. And then on, small tiny baby, Putana, this gigantic demon, right? And Krishna sucks, in the act of sucking milk from her, he sucks all the poison, her life out and kills her. And she's fallen on the ground like this massive mountain, on top of which is this tiny infant Krishna. Then he's under a cart, and with one kick of his foot, the demon who's hiding in the cart, called Shakatasura, he dies. Some guy will take him up, Trinavarta will take him in the sky, Vyomasura, who can't even see, is up in this sky demon, and a horse demon, an ass demon, a bull demon, Scalia the serpent. Oh boy, it's a huge rational circus for us. And for the residents of Vrindavan, it didn't matter. Oh, wonderful. Krishna's very amazing. So that's the preparation for us. So we can also dress up and be ready for the festival. It's a festival for the heart in one sense. Heart about Krishna's appearance. So, any thoughts, comments, questions?
I'm just contemplating the nature of that attraction that a small child would have. Maybe I'm thinking into it too much, but because they lack sambandha gyan,
right?
How, and certainly they're not experiencing prema. So I'm just curious, like, is it like sort of like the shadow attraction or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, just naturally, children are not considered like they have awakened their rational intelligence. But in the child, because there is innocence, that attraction that the soul has towards Krishna there's a little spark. The point is, just that kind of attraction, then what to speak of conscious attraction? That's all it is. But then as one grows older, then one's rational faculties also become sharper. And those rational faculties, if not properly cultured and directed, they actually form blocks and doubts. That's the point. The innocence is that the rational aspect is not. So, in one sense we say childlike innocence. Why? Then there's no doubts and all these blockages. Not that a child is a pure devotee. That's not the idea. But there is easier attraction. When there is innocence, the attraction is easier. So when we distribute books or prasadam, you give someone to eat some, mahaprasadam. Oh wow, what is that? I want it. They have an attraction for the prasadam, but they don't know this is prasadam. This will be enhancing my relationship with Krishna, sambandha gyan, as you were saying. So it is agyata, we call it agyata sukruti, unconscious attraction, if you will.
What and how to understand how to apply one's rationality or intellect, in the sense that I could see how if someone is using that, just like scientists or something, they're producing doubts and also people we preach to, maybe their rationale has been contaminated with material thought. So, but also it could be implied, it could also kind of achieve, through knowledge, through vidya, one could, reach bhakti with faith. So how to know, or how to apply that, I guess.
So in general, to be a scientist is not easy. These people are very, very, very intelligent. Their ability to discern certain phenomena, their ability to describe it, analyze it, that takes a lot. In science, there is what we call mechanistic science and non-mechanistic science. So mechanistic science presumes the absence of God. So everything is nothing but natural phenomena. And non-mechanistic science says there is natural phenomena, but there is the divine being that is guiding it. That's the only difference. So great scientists can come up with great inventions and discoveries, but if the basic fundamental assumption that they're starting with, if it is not based on a theistic view, then that's a blockage. So the example is given of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in one sense. Great scholar par excellence, such a scholar that he had hundreds of sannyasis studying under him, and he was missing that one little point, that the Supreme Lord is staying in your house. What Supreme Lord? Come on, where does it say in the scripture? So great scientists, great intellectuals, if they miss that one little point. So Prabhupada said, all of these are like zeros. You can have 6 zeros, 8 zeros. The value for all of this comes when you put a 1 in front of it. Then suddenly all these zeros have value. 6 zeros coming after 1 is what, $1 million? Million? $1 million. Without that 1, it doesn't matter if I have 6 or 8 or 10 zeros. So it's just that slight, when I say slight, it's a significant but orientation of consciousness, whether it's based on a theistic concept or not. That's the difference. I mean, the kind of discoveries people make, is unbelievable, it's unfathomable. Atomic energy, science, in medicine, the discoveries are fantastic. Perhaps missing. I was reading Ramayana. If you hear Ravana's glory and the kind of beauty he had, the physical stature, the wealth that he had amassed, the intellectual ability that he had, is unbelievable, unbelievable. But no theistic concept. And that was his downfall. And this is where the intervention of a devotee is necessary. They are the ones who add that one ingredient. You take Srila Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada, some of his followers, their educational capacity is like mind-blowing. Sadaputa Prabhu, for example, double PhD or a PhD in mathematics from Cornell, right? Genius. Until they met Prabhupada, their genius, whatever the abilities, didn't have a direction. And when all Prabhupada introduced was, the theistic concept, and lo and behold, they offered the world something fantastic. Or the skill of this, the skill of management, the skill of language. The Prabhupada attracted people of caliber that is, wow. and also attracted the riffraff. There's no doubt about that. But everyone, he implanted that theistic concept. Krishna is the source of everything. And when everything is done for the pleasure of Krishna, then it has meaning and value. Otherwise, it's Maya Apaharta Jnana. That makes sense? Jitendra Prabhu, Ruchi, and then Keshar Kishore. Jitendra Prabhu.
I was thinking of Srila Prabhupada was with Saraswati, Shamasundar and Malati's daughter. And I think the question was asked, who is Krishna? And then I think Prabhupada said, ask her. And
well, he saw her walking to everyone and tugging on their sleeve or coat and said, do you know who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And they would be like, oh, such a cute kid. No, Krishna. And Prabhupada said, she knows more than most people.
Yeah.
Or did she have all the knowledge? I mean, who knows these great souls, but not that she can elaborately describe Sambandha Gyan principles. But the attraction is natural.
Yeah. Prabhupada uses the example of the devotee said, oh, these children are so innocent. And Prabhupada says, but they should not remain innocent, they should become intelligent.
Correct.
So I thought that was, a nice thing to say. Clarified a lot of things. And then Prabhupada said, what was it? The children, okay, example is the prayers of the personified Vedas, the longest story in the Krishna book. That clears up a lot of things, So I really like that chapter. But then I was thinking of Saraswati, like where is she now, So like you said, that one girl, she has a whole different perspective on Krishna consciousness now than when she did when she was a kid.
Right.
But the culmination, the perfection of that is to, stay constantly engaged in Krishna service. Well, a lot of the Gurukula kids, they grow up in the Gurukula and then they leave, right? Because they become influenced by material energy and they don't see things through. So it's kind of, the parents become, discouraged. So, all our effort went into the children and stuff, and now they turn out to be materialist.
Slight edit, if you don't mind. Sign of intelligence is doubt.
Yeah.
And so Prabhupada never allowed blind following. He would challenge that. So he would say, ask any question, challenge me as you may do. No, I mean, not these words, but the point was, don't just say that you take everything blindly. Blind acceptance, he said, is sentimentalism. But blind rejection is foolishness. So our rational faculty must allow doubt in such a way that we ask the right person for the answers. But if our rational faculty makes us ask questions in such a way that those doubts become stronger, or our convictions become stronger in a different way, then we haven't used the intelligence in its full capacity the way it should be. Because a sign of intelligence is the sense of doubt. Why? Asking the question why or how does this happen is a sign of intelligence. The children don't ask because they're not there. But as we grow, we're supposed to. Back to his point of knowing why does the sun rise like this? Why is this? Why is that? Why is this? Why is that?
Then Manasudana, the slayer of doubts.
Yes.
So that's another aspect,
That's why she says, Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate asakrit. Madhupate, the one who's the husband of the goddess of fortune, or the one who's slayer of the Madhu demon. The doubts make way.
One materialistic friend of mine asked me, what is Krishna consciousness? And I said, reality distinguished from illusion for the benefit of all. And he said, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. So that's where they're at, you know. But
as far as you know, the point about Gurukula children becoming materialists, I have a whole different view on it, unfortunately. I felt that in many cases, I can't say all because I don't know all, but in many cases, it is a failure on the part of parents and how they took care or did not take care of their children, and how we as a movement haven't done the best we could for those children. Yeah. So they're in one sense victims of, you know, neglect. Not all, I'm not saying of all, some may be super materialists that I have no idea of, but in general, if you look at the population in general, I think somewhere we as a movement, we could have done far better than that.
I was talking to some devotees that were from the Gainesville area, and then you hear from stories from Los Angeles that the Gurukulis, they're like outrageous sense gratifiers. You know, they're off the charts as far as...
So the question is, why does one do that? Because anything that reminds them of the pain of their childhood, then they have to do something quite the other drastic, you know, the other end of the continuum, to remove any memory of that pain. It removes that whole, or at least it masks the memory.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. But why our children were put in that state and how, then we take responsibility. We, meaning as a movement, that was very badly done. Because I'm sure deep down that samskara of attraction to Krishna, nobody can stop. How much ever amount of materialism goes in between them and the Krishna, it cannot be stopped. It may be dormant for a while, but it cannot be stopped.
Yeah. Prabhupada said one about the Catholic Church, or, you know, priests or churches in general, the priests have failed the people. He said that, but, you know, I remember reading that when he was in Detroit, you know. But, you know, just these things come to mind, you know.
Yeah. You've seen the movie Spotlight? You've seen the movie Spotlight? If you get a chance, all of us as persons in a religious environment, if you can't read the book, watch the movie Spotlight. It's a documentary on the abuse within the Catholic Church. It's two people from a newspaper, I think, right? They started digging, and then they found out one after another, and they went looking for these victims, and they compiled a whole story that became a massive issue of how many young people were abused.
Yeah, came out about 3 years ago.
But there are many lessons in it for us as practitioners and persons giving shelter and care to others, how to be careful to not mess with, you know, people's minds and their innocence in one sense, you know. Very, very, very educative course, not devotional per se, but definitely educative.
Thank you for the class, Rosie. So I just wanted to elaborate on what he said. So when a child is attracted to Krishna spontaneously, it may be because of the past sanskaras, because in previous lives, because like Krishna says, whichever point one leaves their devotion, then he continues on the next life. But if a child is not like spontaneously attracted, then we should like try to develop that, because then...
Yeah, the statement is true. We should try to develop that. But the million-dollar question is how. And if you don't do it the proper way, then we might actually push the person further away from Krishna than they already are. I'll tell you an example. Just yesterday, I was reading to this little tiny baby, Rasika Manjari's baby. We were reading Prabhupada's Leela. And she pays attention, or at least she's there, and, you know, doesn't cry when she's listening. We're reading one particular pastime in which Shrutakirti Prabhu was saying that when Prabhupada was in India, it was difficult for some of his American disciples to interact with the Indian people because the weather was very challenging, the food was challenging, the cultural gap was daunting, everything was, and so they were all waiting to go back to America to preach, because then they would argue with Prabhupada, in the West is so much more wonderful, we want to go back to America, we want to preach in America. And Prabhupada was insisting, stay in India, help me here. So they were arguing with Prabhupada back and forth, back and forth. So finally Prabhupada told them, all right, as long as you chant your 16 rounds, you follow your regulative principles, you eat Krishna Prasadam, you can do any damn thing you like. That's what he told them. And later, Shrutakirti Prabhu writes that Srila Prabhupada, you would often say that people from India are very close to Krishna. And that's what people, we would say, because most of them would say, oh, Krishna, we know Krishna. We've heard about him since our childhood. For American people, that's the first time they heard of Krishna ever in their lives, only when Prabhupada told them. And so Prabhupada explained the difference. He said, the Western or Americans, they are about 100 kilometers or miles away from Krishna and rushing towards Krishna. The Indian people, they are only about 10 miles from Krishna, but rushing in this direction. That's the difference. They are like this and they are going like this away from Krishna. And so the idea is just orient them by, and that's what Prabhupada wanted to do. So it's not how close you are to Krishna, but are they in the right direction? Are we, as we call ourselves preachers or whatever, are we facilitating people to move in this direction? But if we do, some fanatic preaching, oh, drop this, drop that, that is sense gratification, this is Maya, then they will head the other way. And that has happened with children, with adults. So the $1 million question is how we do it, not that is a true statement. Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion that just as walking is natural for a child, Krishna consciousness is natural for a soul. But we, the persons who bring Krishna consciousness for others, when we intervene, we should be careful if we are intervening or interfering. That's the difference. We want to intervene, not interfere.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. I would like to understand, Kamsa gave an order to his ministers to kill all the newborns, because he didn't know where
severe infanticide
his further assassin was going to accomplish his mission.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the village, there's a very indiscreet celebration of a newborn.
Yeah.
Pointing out this is a special kid that has been born, is not an ordinary.
Yeah. So hold on to your horses. That news spreads and comes to Kamsa. So he sends all his demon friends to tell them, oh, don't search here and there, just go to Braj and kill all the children there. Because he doesn't know which child, but out of them the star emerges, Krishna, because he pretty much kills all the demons. Then Kamsa becomes, who's this young boy, Krishna and Balaram? They're the most indomitable boys. And so he invites them to come to Mathura to visit him under the guise or with the intention of killing them. So in all of this, it takes about 11 years. For 11 years, Kamsa is constantly trying to kill these boys. And the boys are having fun with the gopis on one hand and killing demons on the other, at the same time. The news spreads. It's not like that. The story unfolds. Yeah. Anyone else? That's it? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
What happened to me exactly with my kids when I wanted them to have morals and explore the moral fiber on them and put them in Catholic schools in Colombia.
They become hedonists, right?
Gear up.
That's the issue, man. The enthusiasm of the parents, like I said, sometimes instead of intervention becomes interference. And children don't like it.
Totally, because they were pious and they always
You
wanted me
force
to
children,
go.
they become resentful.
Yeah. They want us to counteract it, and now they don't want to do anything with religion. I can remember I was with them in the same way.
Thank you very much.
As I use, here it is, I see this. So that's the way it goes sometimes.